News just in, police are making headway in dismantling an ongoing protest by disgruntled truck drivers on the N3 highway. They continue to blockade that N3 as a form of protest. They've long been complaining about the employment of foreign nationals. The drivers have been protesting for several days now. Let's get the latest from the ground with senior reporter Dasen Thathiah. Dasen, what's the latest you can tell us?
Reenen, well, I'll start with a bit of good news. What you're seeing behind me is some movement, which is always a good sign. This means that the Van Reenen's pass is now slowly being reopened. So the traffic you're seeing now is moving in the direction of Durban. It's in the vicinity of a Caltex garage that's here on the pass. I think everyone who travels this route knows it well. That's where motorists had to stop because of that blockade further down the road here, probably about 1 kilometer or 2 from where I'm standing now. Motorists were forced to stop here, and they've been here for several hours. We spoke to some of them, and it's only now that authorities were able to get rid of those trucks that had been obstructing the road since the early hours of the morning. I think you'll get a sense of the seriousness of this issue from all the police officials that you're seeing here, those from the N3 toll concession route, the other traffic officials. They have all been here since the morning trying to deal with this. Now, what has compounded the problem is that the trucks that were parked here were not just merely blocking the road and able to be towed out. Some of them had their brake lines cut, which made it difficult for authorities then to move those vehicles safely. So there had to be certain repairs that were conducted to ensure that this was done. So as it stands now, almost all of those vehicles have been removed. But despite that, police are still remaining on standby here, and I'll tell you why. A short while ago, when we had gone down the road to see what was going on, there were reports of another potential obstruction here where I'm standing now. And very quickly, police had to move in to disperse that grouping, and they were able to. You'll also would have heard by now that there are issues on the N3 further down towards Howick. That's where we are now getting reports of some other trucks that are obstructing traffic. Authorities also having to respond to that. So while there is good news here, Reenen, there are still other issues that need to be dealt with. And I think, as the Provincial Commissioner for the SAPS put it, he said that it is impossible for any law enforcement official to cover every single kilometer of this very long road.
Now, was the main blockade around Van Reenen's pass? Because earlier, Dasen, very quickly, you were above, you were our eye in the sky in the helicopter. Was the main blockade around the Van Reenen's pass, or were there other parts of that very important N3 route blocked?
This was what caused the major problem that you saw, the delays for people traveling, the fact that trucks were not able to continue. It was the blockade just a few kilometers away from where I am. Even coming in here, we flew in here because it was impossible to get past all of those trucks. When we were flying above, you would have seen that there were kilometers of a traffic backlog. Now, that will take some time to clear. So I think it's also important to mention that while the roadway is open now, it's going to take some time before the traffic backlog as a result of this will eventually clear. So people that are traveling this route will have to have a lot of patience, I think.
Yeah, it's going to take quite some time, but for now, at least things are moving. You've spoken to the police on the ground. Just wondering, because there have been so much complaints about this, some organizations even calling this economic sabotage. Has there been any arrest at all? Are you aware, Dasen, of any action taken by the police against these protesting truck drivers who've caused so much mayhem on the N3 highway?
That was one of my first questions to the Provincial Commissioner, because I think that's what you and I and most South Africans want to know. The people that stopped this traffic flow and caused this mayhem, are they going to be arrested? The PC saying to me that they are not just looking at arresting truck drivers, because I'll touch on that quickly. That's becoming difficult because when they get to these scenes, those that are here claim that they are not, in fact, the ones that are driving the trucks, that they were just here. They're not driving the trucks that were blocking the road. They are looking at getting the leaders, the people behind the scenes, those in the shadows, those that are strategizing and putting these protests together. And to that end, he said to me that they are making headway. But let's listen into a part of that interview that I did with the Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, earlier.
Yeah, well, at least we've got some leads. We're able to get into some leads because they're well coordinated, how they operate, they organize whatever they're doing. As we speak today, in KZN, there's a blockage here, and there was a blockage in Howick as we speak, and same modus operandi. But we now know who are the main instigators. So we are going to be on their case.
Are we going to be hearing of some people behind bars soon?
Yeah, well, we've been always arresting those that we always find on the road, but the actual mastermind that we've been struggling to get them. But at least now I know who are the organizers. And the organizers, we've got their contacts, we've got their particulars. So we'll be going for them.
Okay, Dasen, I know you need to go back up in the chopper just to check the rest of the road. But from where you are, from this vantage point where the main problem was, it looks like things are now moving smoothly. Those going to take quite some time to clear the backlog.
Definitely, it's starting to move, but as I said, patience is important here. But we will be bringing you live visuals when we get back into this chopper, and we'll be showing you what the rest of the route looks like, which will add some value for anyone who is planning to take this road and head down to the coast today.
Thank you very much, Dasen Thathiah, for the latest comprehensive update from the Van Rieneden's Pass, just a kilometer or so away from where the main blockade was. Police now have succeeded to reopen Van Rieneden's Pass. N3 highway is again flowing, but it's going to take quite a long time to clear the backlog. There will be that traffic backup, and the police say they are going to be investigating. They've got some leads about who are the masterminds besides this blockade, which has been described by some commentators in the country today as economic sabotage.